Hello everyone, this is S.K. Mehta, presently the President of the Indian Nuclear Society called INS. I wish to welcome you all to this INS series lectures. This series about 13 lectures is aimed to acquaint you with the various aspects of the nuclear energy, its utilization in various areas benefiting humanity, the limitations and the regulatory aspects in safety and protection. One of the main objectives of the INS is to promote the advancement of nuclear science and engineering and technology related to the atomic nucleus and the allied sciences and arts. With this objective, INS has been disseminating information through journals, books, reports, newsletters, seminars, and conferences. These have mainly been to keep the INS members and other scientific communities and organizations well informed about the development in the various areas of science and technology within India and world over. Or it is realized that there is a need to keep the various professionals, undergraduate students, and general public knowledgeable in their respective fields of nuclear science and engineering. For the benefit of the public, some of the important and the common application of nuclear being for power, industrial use, medical diagnosis and treatment, agriculture, food preservation, and various other areas. This lecture series is made in simple language and illustration with the aim to inform the general viewer about the science, engineering, and technology, social benefits of the nuclear, application of nuclear carrier benefits in nuclear and regulatory and safety of the nuclear energy. The presentations are prepared and narrated by experts on each topic in a way that the viewers with no background knowledge about the nuclear science and engineering can understand. Our effort will be to constantly provide information about newer benefits to the society emerging out of the painstaking research and nuclear science and engineers. Viewers are encouraged to comment, suggest, and put forward questions to the experts. The channel of the constructive communication will always be open in INS, which is website ins-india.org.
Welcome all to this wonderful lecture series by Indian Nuclear Society. There are 13 lectures on various topics related to nuclear energy and its application to societal benefits. All these lectures will cover different aspects of nuclear energy in sectors like power, medicine, agriculture, and society. It illustrates in simple way the science behind nuclear reactors for all of us.
Hello everyone, this is Dr S N Jamdar. I work in Food Technology Division of BARC, and today I will elaborate on applications of nuclear energy in food and agriculture. So, when we hear about nuclear energy, the first thought which comes in our mind is about its destructive uses, isn't it? However, we must know that nuclear energy has many useful applications in different sectors like power generation, scientific research, space exploration, industrial applications, medicine, and even food and agriculture sectors. In this talk, I would be focusing on how nuclear energy can be useful in agriculture productivity and preservation of food to make it more safe secure, and improving international trade. To begin with, let us first know what is the nuclear energy. And to understand this, we can have a look at the electromagnetic spectrum of light. The spectrum is divided into different regions depending upon the wavelength and the energy that these rays possesses. If we consider the visible light which we see around as the reference point, the part of the spectrum on the right hand side has high energy rays and that of the left hand side has low energy rays. The high energy rays like gamma rays have high penetration power and ability to ionize the molecules. Different radionuclides, either naturally present or man-made, are the sources of these gamma rays. Since the origin of rays is from the nucleus of the atom, it is also referred to as nuclear energy. To begin with, let us first know which all different nuclear radiations are emitted by radioactive elements. They are alpha, beta radiations, gamma radiations. Among these, gamma rays have highest penetration power, which cannot be stopped by thin and lesser dense material like paper or wood, but requires very dense material like lead to stop it. In food and agriculture, radiation, that is, gamma rays emitted by cobalt 60 or cesium 137 radioisotopes are used for different applications. Similarly, some machine sources which produces high energy electron beam can also serve the same purpose. Further, we will see what is the radiation dose. When we say any material is exposed to this radiation, the radiation energy is absorbed by that material and it is called as radiation dose, which is measured in units gray. When any commodity after exposing to such a radiation absorbs 1 joule of energy per kilogram weight of that material, it is referred to as 1 gray dose. Different amount of dose is required for different applications to get desired effect. Now, before we go into the application part, we will see how gamma rays act in a biological system. Basically, it damages the DNA of the bacteria and parasites. If the damage is not repaired, it eventually leads to the death of the organism. At low doses of gamma radiation, it can cause the change in the sequence of the DNA, which is referred to as mutation. These mutations are the basis of the variation which we see around in different plant species. Thus, irradiation of plant seeds at low doses can be useful in developing different varieties of a plant, which will be detailed in coming slides. So, with this brief introduction about radiation, we will be moving on to the application part of the nuclear energy in agriculture. That is, application of nuclear energy for improving food productivity. So, here let us first take an overview of the current problems in the agriculture sector in India. A few are listed here, like the quality of soil and environmental conditions, the quality of seeds, the variety of seed, the insect and pest problems. So all these factors affects the agriculture productivity in India. And the solutions to these problems are sought by the Nuclear Agriculture and Biotechnology Division of Bhabha Atomic Research Center. The scientists here are working in different areas of agriculture and agronomical practices and act as a guiding star for the farmers in their difficulties in these fields. Among these, the crop improvement is one of the important area yielding new crop variety which are better in terms of yield, nutritional quality, pest resistance, and resistant to salinity and drought. Besides this, since there is increase in the demand for cereals and pulses or oilseeds every year, as this table suggests, and to fulfill the requirement in the same area of land under agriculture, we must have improved varieties of the crops which are better in terms of its productivity. Okay, so when I say improved variety, are you thinking it is something which is not natural? The answer is no. In fact, over a period, farmers have taken advantage of naturally occurring mutations which are caused by radiation emanating from cosmos, sun, or earth itself. These mutations bring about changes or variation in already existing species. Some of these are beneficial, enabling new species to survive and thrive in a wide range of environment. This is called as genetic variability. But you know what? Today we don't have to really wait for the nature. In the year 1920, when the researcher discovered the artificial ionizing radiation was capable of inducing mutation, the crop breeders were able to increase the frequency of mutations, which in turn could be useful for developing a new variety with one or more than one beneficial characteristic, like high yield, early maturing, improved nutritive value, decrease in anti-nutritional factor, improving stress tolerance, and thus the age of crop breeding was born. This can be better explained by the small animated video clip developed by IAEA. To induce desirable crop mutations, seeds or other plant material are exposed to ionizing radiation. Seeds are then grown for 2 to 4 generations until new but rare mutant characteristics can be identified. Once identified, seeds from selected plants are grown for yet more generations to generate uniform breeding material. Advanced mutant lines are then tested in the field and, if necessary, crossed with the existing varieties to retain their agronomic traits, and then compared with the national traits with existing varieties before finally being officially licensed and released to the farmers. Mutation breeding has generated thousands of new crop varieties in hundreds of crop species and billions of dollars as additional revenue, delivering higher yields, increased nutritional value, resilience to the effect of climate change, and tolerance to desiccation. Thus, mutation breeding is a fundamental and highly successful tool in global efforts of agriculture to feed an ever-increasing and nutritionally demanding population. In BARC, the main objective of crop improvement is to develop higher yielding varieties having better nutritional quality, resistant to pests and other diseases, and also to abiotic stress like drought and salinity. So keeping this in mind, total 55 crop varieties are released by BARC and notified for commercial cultivation across the country as on September 2022. Here I am showing the most popular varieties developed and released by BARC. The first one is more recent, that is Trombay linseed variety TL99. Linseed variety TL99 is low in linolenic acid content and thus making the oil to be used as edible oil. Similarly, we also have better mustard and cowpea varieties which are superior in terms of yield and disease resistant characteristic than the earlier varieties. BARC, in collaboration with IGKV Raipur, has also developed two superior rice varieties, namely Vikram TCR and CG Java Full. In groundnut, Highest number of varieties are developed by BRC. Among them, TAG24, TG37A, TG38, TG51, and TAG73 are more popular, and these varieties are used in different states or almost every state of India. Among others, mung bean, urad, soya bean, tur varieties have also been developed and are being used by the farmers from different states of India. So the next slide shows pan-India spread of Trombe crop varieties, which itself substantiates the popularity of these crop varieties and their demand. This in turn summarizes contribution of nuclear energy in modern agriculture. So till now, what we have seen is how nuclear energy is useful in improving agriculture productivity, and now we will move on to see how this agriculture produce can be best preserved using nuclear energy. That is, we are going to see applications of nuclear energy for food preservation. The main purpose for food preservation is, of course, to improve its shelf life, but beside that, it also assures food safety, food security, that is, enabling to serve safe food to people of India. At the same time, it improves the international trade by helping to meet the standard led by importing countries. When we talk about food losses, these food losses are unavoidable. However, the wastage of food as high as 30 to 40% definitely be considered as a serious economic loss, and that indicates improper management of post-harvest produce. In that, the lack of proper preservation or processing method could be a major factor responsible for such a higher percentage of food wastage. Food spoilage can be one of the major reasons for the food losses to occur. So let us first study what are the different reasons for food spoilage. In that, the mechanical damage which might occur during transportation of commodities like fruits and vegetables can be very high. Several agricultural produces are live tissues and undergo physiological changes like sprouting in onions and potatoes, and over-ripening of fruits like mangoes and bananas are undesirable and are primary reasons for losses in these commodities. Post-mortem autolytic changes in meat and fish products also causes undesirable changes in sensory quality of these food products. In commodities like grains and dry fruits, insect infestation is the major cause of spoilage. On the other hand, for meat and fish and spices or other products, including ready-to-eat food products, microbial growth affects food freshness and causes spoilage of these foods, incurring huge loss. Having said that, this spoilage can be prevented by some preservation techniques. Currently, a few techniques are adopted on a larger scale. For instance, fumigation is widely used for insect disinfestation, which involves use of harmful chemicals like phosphines and methyl bromide. For sprout inhibition, we use chemical treatment as well as cold storage. There are several methods which are practiced for microbial decontamination, and use of each of these like heat, UV, microwave, chemicals, etc. depends upon the type of food and the cost of the process. Unfortunately, several of the methods practiced currently uses harmful chemicals, and I'm afraid to say that this might leave toxic residues on food and or can cause environmental hazard. Some may even cause loss in nutritive properties of food, while some other can cause physical changes in food and also sensory changes in them. Hence, there is a dire need to have an alternative technology which is safe as well as causing minimal changes in food without leaving any toxic residues in food after processing. Radiation processing of food is one such a technique which overcomes all the limitations of the existing methods. It is one such a physical process in which food and agriculture commodities in their pre-packed form or in bulk are exposed to a controlled amount of radiant energy to achieve the desirable effect. Now, what are these desirable effects? So, here we will talk about the same. The first one is sprout inhibition in commodities like onion, potatoes, garlic, etc. These commodities, once irradiated after an appropriate time of their harvest, they lose their ability to sprout and hence remain unchanged for nearly 6 to 8 months. Similarly, in commodities like cereals and pulses, their products get spoiled due to the infestation of insect pests. Irradiation of these commodities in packed condition can kill the insect in all the stages of their growth, and hence in the packed condition these food items can remain safe without any growth of the insect for a very long time. Similarly, some of the food commodities like meat, fish and their products are highly perishable and amenable to get spoiled by microorganisms within a few hours at ambient conditions. Radiation processing can kill both spoilage causing as well as pathogenic, or we commonly call them as disease causing organisms. It can thus cause improvement in the shelf life by more than 20 days at cold temperatures. Another thing that you must be aware that in India, at most of the places, spices are processed by sun drying in an open area, causing a lot of dust getting mixed with these products, which in turn acts as a source of microbes, leading to microbial spoilage of these commodities. Hence, it is important to hygienize the spices in order to improve their keeping quality. Irradiation can kill microbes and improve the shelf life of these commodities. Fruits like mangoes and bananas are prone to get physiological changes due to over-ripening and hence difficult to transport over a long distance. Gamma radiation can delay the ripening process and hence these fruits remain fresh during transportation. Besides this, the process also kills insect pests in these produce and hence assures the safe transport of these commodities. The applications of radiation processing of food, which I just listed in a previous slide, we will see through a short video clip over here.
Radiation processing is a useful application for the various purpose. A low dose of gamma rays could be sufficient to delay the ripening of mango for long distance transportation. Previously, Indian mangoes were not exported to the USA due to the presence of seed weevil. Radiation processing has ensured insect-free mango and thus has enabled us to ship mango to the USA. More than 8,000 metric ton of mango has been exported to the USA and the quantity is increasing every year. Now more fruits like pomegranate are being irradiated. Gamma rays also prevent sprouting of onions and potatoes. Disinfect cereals or pulses by killing microscopic insect eggs. Gamma rays can effectively eliminate spoilage microorganisms and kill disease-causing microbes in spices, fish, meat, and minimally processed vegetables. Similarly, shelf-stable food can be prepared by using the higher dose of radiation. Astronauts carry irradiate food, which is totally.
Okay, so once you know what are the different applications of food irradiation, you must be wondering how does this process take place. So I will show you a small video clip to know how exactly the food is processed using gamma rays. And now once you know that, I will just list some advantages of the processing using ionizing radiation.
We are all aware of the electromagnetic spectrum, which includes sunlight, microwaves, radio and mobile signal, X-rays and gamma rays. Among them, high energy rays such as gamma and X-rays can pass through the food and kill the harmful bacteria and insects. These high-energy gamma rays are emitted by isotopes of cobalt and cesium. High-energy rays also can be generated by machines such as X-rays and electron beam. These high-energy rays are used to process food, which makes it safe for consumption. The cobalt-60 used for generation of gamma rays is stored inside water when not in use. During radiation processing, the source is lifted from the water shield. The food to be irradiated is packed and filled in product boxes and placed on the conveyor belt. The product boxes move around the cobalt-60 source. The speed of the conveyor belt and the exposure time can be changed depending on the dose that is to be delivered to the food. During irradiation, the food will never come in contact with the radiation source and only high energy beam passes through food.
As shown in the clip, the food is processed in gamma irradiation facility or E-beam facility, and the layout of one such a plant is shown in this slide. So we'll move on to the advantages of the process. The first and foremost is that it is highly effective. Since gamma rays can penetrate inside the food and also do not leave any residue unlike other chemical preservatives. Secondly, since it is used in a highly controlled and regulated way, it is safe for workers and environment. In fact, use of gamma rays for grain processing would prevent current environmentally unfriendly methods like fumigation, and hence it is better. The biggest advantage of the radiation processing is that it can be used for pre-packed commodities, and that is not possible with many other processes. Additionally, it does not increase the temperature of the product, and hence it is called as a cold process, thus useful for preservation of heat-sensitive products. Now we'll talk about the consumer acceptance of the irradiated food. As you know, the important aspect about any processing technique is that the sensory quality of the processed product. And I would like to mention that radiation processing does not alter the taste, appearance, color, or other sensory parameters, and thus the products treated with the gamma rays are well accepted by the consumers. Now we'll move on to the effects of irradiation on the nutritional parameters of the processed food. Nutrition quality determined in terms of macro and micronutrients is a very important parameter which determines the usability of any technique. And to be honest, the products which are irradiated are wholesome with respect to the nutrition quality, and that is why they are well accepted. As I told you in my previous slide, that the irradiated food are not different in the physical appearance. So the question comes in our mind that how to identify whether the food is irradiated or not. So there is one symbol which you would see on any of the radiation processed food product, and is called as the radiograph, which is an international symbol to indicate that the products are processed through gamma radiation. Almost all the major countries across the globe accept the irradiation technology for processing of food or consumes irradiated food products. So now let us know what is the status of food irradiation in India. As per the Gazette notification released by Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, released in May 2016, the food can be processed using gamma irradiation. Here, the table shows different food items which are grouped in different classes and the purpose for which they are irradiated. It also shows what is the maximum and minimum dose limit which has to be given to the food in order to serve this purpose. Similarly, the other table shows what are the other allied products which can be processed through gamma radiation. The other allied products includes animal food and feed, food additives or health food, dietary supplements, body care and cleansing products, etc. The success of technology can be depicted from the increase in the number of irradiation plants across India every year, which depicts the commercial success of the technology and also the need of this technology. As on year 2022, we have total 25 commercial plants, which includes 4 in government sector and 21 in private sector, and 7 more plants in different stages of commissioning. So, in order to summarize and conclude my talk, I would say nuclear energy is useful in both food production as well as its preservation. Crop breeding programs use nuclear technology to help vulnerable countries to ensure food security, adapt to climate change, and even to tackle seasonal famine. New mutant crop varieties shorten the growing process, thereby allowing farmers to plant additional crops during the growing season. Gamma irradiation of agri-produce, including grains, onions, and potatoes, can prevent huge loss due to spoilage of these commodities. And lastly, radiation processing could also work in combination with other techniques like heat and modified atmosphere packaging wherever required.
So, I hope you all enjoyed this lecture. Do not miss other lecture from Indian Nuclear Society. If you have any questions, please write to us on this email ID. Thank you.